Welcome to Black Angus Reviews, Episode 1 of Casting the Fandom Menace in Game of Thrones. If you didn't see the intro to the series, this is the Ethan Van Sciver tier, containing channels or peers I associate with our pie champion Caesar, Uncle Ethan. So without delay, let's get to the casting and why. We begin with the character we all know and love, the benevolent patriarch who started the show and won our hearts, Ned Stark. When we first meet him, we find a nobleman of great character, firm yet just in his acts of diplomacy, a man with a moral code of renowned claim and valiant history on the battlefield. When portrayed in conjunction with his family, we see a man who prefers the simple comforts of life, yet when faced with the unconventional, is willing to adapt. He sees the world through the eyes of a veteran longing for past days of glory, yet aware that most he'd lead now to battle are just boys, and because of that, tempers his emotion with that knowledge. Ned faces an untimely death for his good nature, not realizing how ruthless an enemy without morality can be. Because of these qualities, I've chosen Richard Meyer, author of Comicsgate success Jawbreakers. A Marine and veteran of war, Meyer knows of simpler times and many facets of life, namely entertainment and comics. A dreamer at heart and fed up with the new direction in comics, he set out to change the game, or at least show others there's alternative routes. Of course, to land a publisher, Meyer failed to see a foe willing to break the rules to stop his success. But unlike Cersei, Mark Waid underestimated Meyer's talent, friends, and tenacity to stay true to his cause. Next, we meet Peter Baelish, a man of low standing. He's made himself through sheer will, using his wit to become master of coin. As a young man, he vied for the hand of someone beyond his standing, and paid dearly for it, bearing a mark he'd never forget for his vain troubles. As someone who values the whispers of the realm, he competes with, yet respects his rival, Varys, as they both adhere to the Game of Thrones in which they serve. Eventually, we learn all the mechanizations of war and intrigue are all somehow tied to Littlefinger, ultimately falling like Icarus flying too close to the sun, his ambition proving to be his undoing. Cecil, a man who lives to serve diversity, inclusion, compassion, and kindness, is the Littlefinger of the Fandom Menace and Comicsgate. Somehow he is the key to it all. Unknowingly, he has been given the keys to the realm to travel as he pleases. Unlike Peter, though, Cecil has been scarred unworthily, jaded by those who were to aid in the creation of Cash Grab. The realm of Comicsgate rallied to his support, like House Aaron did for Peter to reclaim Winterfell. He has gained the key to our collective hearts, for Cecil is love. Cecil is life.
That would be gigantic.
If I may interject for a moment.
Oh, shit. Get this guy the fuck off.
He came back himself. I didn't even re-invite him.
See, he has the key. You gave him the link. He can just walk in and walk out whenever he wants. I mean, he's essentially the annoying neighbor on a sitcom in the 80s.
Hello.
Hi, Cecil.
Varys is a foreigner to the realm. He has seen the work of evil tyrants and works to serve the realm, not loyal to any particular hierarchy, but to the realm itself. Made a eunuch at an early age, the simpler pleasures in life no longer interest him. He works to remove those, like his tormentors, for the better of all. And he uses his position to defend those without defense themselves, through less conventional means. Ethan Van Sciver is my choice for Varys. Being a conservative in comics, he started a cautious vigilance of the industry. Being Republican in a leftist-dominated industry, he was made a eunuch metaphorically, made an outcast, and deemed a Nazi. In an unforeseen series of events, he became a trusted member of the media via YouTube, utilizing various sparrows like Ichibaka and Ro-Kabir, among many others, to enlighten us in all things Disney, Star Wars, and now Marvel. Becoming a leader in Comicsgate, he was not loyal to the tyrants of the industry like Wade, Simone, and others, but to the customers of the Comicsgate realm. Given the state of entertainment and the toxic soy inhabitants within, he uses now unconventional comedy and satire to reveal SJW's true nature. As Varys is deemed the spider, Uncle Ethan is called a Gaylord, yet he rises triumphant, for he is Caesar, Lord of the Gays. Robert Baratheon is another interesting yet short-lived character of Game of Thrones. Despite being king of the Seven Kingdoms, his is a story of self-loathing and tragedy. A man known for his love of drink and women, he at first appears to be a happy party animal. But under that facade, we find a man forever heartbroken, having never had his one true love stolen from him. His beloved was a cause for war, and Robb forever lives longing for the days of old, fighting battles for victory, shedding blood, and looking forward to the next horde to pass the evening in joy. Now as king, he's married to a bride that only holds him in contempt. Despite all the valor won on the battlefield, he meets his fate in an unforeseen hunting accident to a boar, having his drink drugged by his new squire. My friend, Drunk 3PO, is my casting choice for Robert Baratheon. For one, there's the obvious association of drink to his name in Avatar, a drunken C-3PO. But on a deeper level, there's the tragedy and betrayal he's dealt with like Robb. For years, Drunk loved Star Wars, and perhaps still does. Like Cersei, the franchise has developed into a bride in contempt of his existence, himself a fucking white male, and straight to boot. Like the rape and murder of Robb's beloved, Drunk suffers the existence of the Last Jedi, a bastard of canon that forever tarnishes his loved hero, Luke Skywalker. Like a king just trying to enjoy what pleasures may be had, Drunk is sideswiped and betrayed repeatedly, mocked for having a tiny channel, and attacked for having seen Captain Marvel. Unlike Robb, long may he reign on YouTube, Drunk 3PO, first of his name, protector of the fandom. Sir Meryn Trant is known a Kingsguard. Being a knight, he is to defend the innocent and weak without hesitation. Despite the honor of his position and class, Sir Meryn is dishonorable. Eventually, in Season 5, we learn his taste in horrors is beyond reproach, even in those type of facilities. Yet given his standing, are overlooked and indulged despite the cost to society, for Sir Meryn is a pedophile. Eventually, his actions have consequences, and he faces a deliciously satisfying death from Arya Stark. Brian Young has held a long-standing freelance writing position at Lucasfilm, and reputation as an SJW White Knight. Brian has been praised for co-writing a Robotech project that would use gender-neutral language as well. He uses his position and his Twitter to constantly virtue signal and give guidance to others, to talk to people with autism, to women of color, and other minority classes, and sees himself as a respecter of women. After not believing certain women's claims of assault from a friend, he was chastised by the SJW community and later on discovered to be a weirdo. Involved with in-depth shipping discussions, namely Kylux, some participants we assume were underaged. Like Sir Meryn, Brian was found out, and while not blinded or killed, like this fictitious character, he has been cast out by his own SJW horde and deemed a jackhole.
Not important at all. Jackhole. Not important at all.
Jaqen H'ghar is otherwise known as a man of many faces. We first meet him as a prisoner to be taken north to serve on the wall. Desperate to escape when the prisoner wagon goes up in flames, he becomes indebted to Arya Stark, owing her a life debt. It turns out he's an assassin, a faceless man of Braavos, able to change his appearance as needed. Eventually, Arya is able to venture to Braavos and begin tutelage under Jaqen. My buddy, the Rookie Critic, is my choice for Jaqen H'ghar. If any of you have seen his Rookie's Test trilogy, you know Rookie is a man of many faces. Like Jaqen leading new assassins, Rookie has taken many under his wings and introduced the Fandom Menace to so many new creators. Without Rookie, who knows when, if ever, utter chaos would have come about. Given the newfound love people have for his Rotten Tomatoes series, who knows where Rookie will pop up next. Renly Baratheon, younger brother to the King Robb, is a man a bit ahead of his time. In the shadow of Robb, he learns the failings of a war-hardened society and utilizes his standing in society. Unlike Robb, he is kind, compassionate, tender. After his brother's fall, he assumes his own crown and takes a beautiful bride. Despite his wife's beauty and need for an heir, his heart is elsewhere. Lethal Lightning is my choice for Renly. The Thunder from Down Under is a young and promising channel. He fights the SJWs on various fronts, be it gaming, Star Wars, comics, and more. He garners the affection of many, and while there is one that seems to be the prize of his eye, this Chad's love canon is aimed at another to be discovered in Episode 3. Marjorie Tyrell is a sight to behold for any and all across the Seven Kingdoms. Very few, if any, can rival her beauty. Because of this, others show their jealousy, envious of the people's love and affection for her. Marjorie also has a brain. Her enemies conspire against her, assuming she's just a pretty face, and to their surprise, as the plan unfolds, Marjorie undermines them. Nerdette's Newsstand is my casting choice for Marjorie. Initially, it was solely based on a joke that will pay off in Episode 3, Lethal Lightning being Renly Baratheon. But a deeper assessment of the character added more depth to the choice. Nerdette is an attractive woman, and being in Comicsgate, a smart one at that. Because of this potent mix of looks and wit, she receives the ire of hideous troll-faced SJWs, who, in their criticism of Comicsgate being alt-right and sexist, show their own sexist views of women. If they don't think like us, they just can't be a woman. Even though Lethal has shown affection her way, Nerdette's role in Westeros is the destiny of tragedy. As alluded to earlier, Lethal's eyes wonder. After the fall of Joffrey, the worst possible tyrant seemed to have left Westeros. Along with his passing, the playing field is largely cleared and reset. The Seven Realms weren't aware of the vile surprise they had in store with Ramsay Bolton. When first on the scene, he seemed a benevolent servant, there to help rescue Theon Greyjoy, but soon revealed himself the bastard of the flayed man's traitorous patriarch, Roose Bolton. Evils done by him escalated further and further, perhaps making him worse than King Joffrey, as his works at least seem to be his core nature. Ultimately, Ramsay bites off more than he can chew, ironic if you know his fate. Wibbling and wobbling, zigzagging, herkily-jerkily onto the scene is one of the Fandom Menace's favorite soy boys to self-sabotage, Chuck Wendig. Whether it be forcing a gay character into Star Wars lore or telling Kavanaugh supporters to eat a boot covered in shit, Chuck just couldn't help himself. He just couldn't understand how he was ever fired for his harmless tweets, much to our delight. At least Caesar could find some joy from his poignant poetry.
Thursday. You are the sum total of the days before today. The culmination of experiences, both good and bad. You are standing at the top of the mountain that is you. A dragon curled around its craggy peak. Did I mention you were a dragon? You're a fucking dragon. Roar, fly, and burn shit.
Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to share this if you've enjoyed it, and look forward to Episode 2, World Class Bullshitters and Friends, currently in the works and hopefully to be released next Sunday, again before Game of Thrones. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you'd like to support this channel, consider becoming a patron or buying store merch from the Teespring store. Don't forget to check out the growing list of friends in the Fandom Collective in the description below. And follow me on Twitter, @AngusReviews. See you there.